Ghostly tales, yet mirrors of human life. Hey everyone! Welcome to Encountering Chinese, Ghostly Tales from Zhai. Today, I'm going to tell you two short stories. The first story is titled The Little Hound. There was a literati named Wei Zhozhua from Shaanxi. When he was still a scholar, tired of the busy affairs at home, he moved into a temple to live. However, the monks' quarters were infested with many bedbugs, mosquitoes, and fleas, making it difficult for Wei Zhozhua to sleep at night. One day, after finishing his meal, Wei Zhozhua was lying on his bed resting. Suddenly, a little warrior about 2 inches tall entered the monk's quarters. The little warrior had a pheasant tail on his head and was riding a grasshopper-sized horse. He wore green leather gloves with a fly-sized falcon perched on top. The little warrior moved around the room, sometimes walking, sometimes running, while his falcon flew around the room. As Wei Zhozhua watched intently, another little person dressed like the warrior arrived in the monk's quarters, except he had a small bow and arrow at his waist and was leading a hound the size of a large ant. After a while, more walking and riding warriors arrived in the monk's quarters, numbering in the hundreds. There were hundreds of falcons and hundreds of little hounds too. Whenever a mosquito or fly flew up in the room, the little warriors released their falcons to swoop down and kill the insects. The hounds climbed onto the beds and walls, finding and eating bedbugs or fleas, even those hiding in crevices. None escaped their detection. In no time, the insects in the room were almost completely eradicated. Wei Zhozhua pretended to be asleep but observed surreptitiously. At one point, he saw a falcon land on him, and the hounds came running around him. Then, a man dressed in yellow robes, wearing a flat crown like a king, entered the room and climbed onto another bed, hitching his chariot to a mat. His attendants dismounted and presented mosquitoes, flies, bedbugs, and fleas to the king, then gathered around him, talking inaudibly. Shortly after, the king boarded his chariot, and his attendants quickly mounted their horses, galloping away in a whirlwind of dust, disappearing in an instant. Wei Zhozhua observed all of this clearly. He felt deeply amazed and wondered where these little creatures had come from. He put on his shoes and looked outside but saw no trace of them and heard no sound. Wei Zhozhua looked around the monk's quarters, but there was nothing to be seen. Finally, he spotted a stray little hound on the wall tiles. He quickly caught the little hound, which proved to be very tame. Wei Zhozhua placed the little hound in the box on the inkstone stand and observed it repeatedly. He noticed that the fur of the little hound was very fine, and it had a small collar around its neck. Wei Zhozhua tried to feed it rice grains, but it only sniffed and then walked away. The little hound jumped onto the bed, searching in the seams of clothes, biting and killing all the lice and fleas on the bed, then returning to the box to rest. The next morning, Wei Zhozhua thought the little hound had left, but when he looked in the box, he found it still there. Whenever Wei Zhozhua lay down, the little hound would jump onto the bed and kill any insects it found, not sparing a single mosquito or fly. Wei Zhozhua loved the little hound more than precious jewels. One day, while Wei Zhozhua was napping, the little hound lay silently beside him. When he woke up and rolled over, he accidentally crushed the little hound under his waist. Feeling something under him, he realized it might be the little hound and quickly got up to check. Indeed, the little hound had been flattened and killed. It became squashed and looked like a paper cutout. However, after that, there were no more insects in the room. The second story is titled Chess Ghost. Liang Gong, the deputy general from Yangzhou, retired from his official position and returned to his hometown to reside. Every day, he would bring along his chess set and wine, amusing himself among the trees, hills, and rocks. One day happened to be the Double Ninth Festival, a day when people nearby would go out to climb high and enjoy themselves. Liang Gong also found a picturesque spot to play chess with his friends. Suddenly, a man walked up to Liang Gong and stood by the chessboard, attentively studying the game without any intention of leaving. Liang Gong glanced at the man and noticed his shabby appearance, but his demeanor was cultured and gentle, indicating he was a scholar. Liang Gong courteously invited him to join them, and after much humble refusal, the scholar finally sat down, remaining modest throughout. Pointing to the chessboard, Liang Gong said, "Sir, you must be skilled in this game. Why not play a game with my friend?" The scholar hesitated but eventually agreed to play. After the first game, the scholar lost and became visibly agitated, appearing increasingly unable to control his emotions. As they began another round, he lost again, growing even more ashamed and frustrated. Feeling increasingly ashamed and frustrated, the scholar refused to drink the wine poured by Liang Gong and instead pulled Liang Gong's friend into another game of chess. They played from dawn until nightfall, completely ignoring their bodily needs. Just as the two were arguing over a chess move, the scholar suddenly left his seat and stood up in fear, his expression miserable and defeated. After a brief pause, he knelt before Liang Gong, bowing his head until it bled, begging for help. Astonished and puzzled, Liang Gong rose to assist the scholar, saying, "Chess is just a game, there's no need for such distress." The scholar replied, "Please, you must instruct your stableman not to tie my neck." Perplexed by this, Liang Gong asked, "Who is this stableman?" The scholar answered, "His name is Ma Cheng." Previously, Liang Gong had heard that his stableman Ma Cheng could communicate with ghosts. Every 10 days or so, he would journey to the underworld as a messenger of the dead. Finding the situation bizarre, Liang Gong sent someone to check on Ma Cheng, who had been lying stiff in bed for 2 days. Liang Gong's servant scolded Ma Cheng to get up, but at that moment, the scholar disappeared without a trace. After pondering for a long time, Liang Gong finally realized that the scholar was a ghost. One day later, Ma Cheng finally woke up, and Liang Gong summoned him to inquire about the situation. Ma Cheng said, "The scholar you saw the other day was originally from Xianyang, Hubei province. He was addicted to chess and spared no expense for it. His father, worried about him, locked him in the study, but he always escaped over the wall and led his chess friends to quiet and deserted places to continue playing. When his father found out, he scolded him harshly, but could never stop him from playing chess. Eventually, his father died of anger and sorrow. Yama punished the scholar for causing his father's death by shortening his lifespan and sending him to the hungry ghost hell, where he has been for 7 years now. When the Grand Divine Eastern Yu Emperor's Eastern Yu Phoenix Tower was completed, official documents were sent to the underworld, summoning deceased literati to compose inscriptions for the tower. Yama took the scholar out of hell to handle this matter, hoping to atone for his sins. However, he procrastinated and missed the deadline for writing the inscriptions. The Dongyue Great Emperor was furious and sent an officer on duty to the underworld to question Yama. Yama, also angry, sent us to apprehend him. I didn't use a rope to tie him up because I heard your orders. Liang Gong asked. How is the scholar doing today? Ma Qing replied. He has been handed over to the underworld officials for trial. It is feared that he will never be reincarnated again. Liang Gong sighed and said, who would have thought that an addiction could lead to such misfortune? At the end of the story, the author provides the following commentary. To see that chess could make someone disregard their family and their own life, and then become a ghost because of it, with no chance of reincarnation due to chess, does he believe that the thing he loves is more important than life itself? When an addiction reaches such an extreme level, yet the skill remains mediocre, it only results in the underworld gaining another chess ghost who can never be reincarnated. Truly, it is a sorrowful sight. Alright. That's all for today's ghostly tales. The Little Hound and Chess Ghost. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Please also encourage everyone to comment and share more. We'll see you in the next episode.